In 2023, when I was postpartum following my third baby, and as I was approaching my 40th birthday, I lost 35 pounds, implemented some better lifestyle health choices, and started to feel like so much better about myself, not just in terms of how I looked, but also in terms of how I felt. However, after that point, I started to take my foot off the gas a bit really. I lost momentum and then I started to gradually put on weight. Some of those poorer health choices started to creep back in, and I got to the point where I was 17 pounds up on where I had been and feeling pretty rubbish about myself. So I've set myself a goal to change my health, transform my health and transform my body over the course of the next 90 days, today being day 1. I have an idea of how I want to go about doing this, and one of those things is I'm going to share my journey here on YouTube, because I know from experience that sharing my journey on social media helps to hold me accountable, and like gives me that extra motivation really, the fact that I know I'm going to be making videos documenting my progress to like help me stay on track. And I feel like I really need that right now. So here's a video that I took this morning showing what I am looking like right now. In February of this year, I started to try to make some changes to my health, and I did manage to lose a little bit of weight with intermittent fasting, meaning that as of today, I am 9 pounds up on where I was, where I'd got to in 2023, weighing 154 pounds, or just over 154 pounds. I would love to get to a point where I am between 125 and 130 pounds. But I don't want to make this all about weight loss, although that is a major factor, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. But I want to make this about some like bigger health lifestyle changes. So in 2023, I implemented some better health choices, such as doing a bit more exercise. And actually, for the bulk of 2023, because I had a young baby, I had 2 other children who were quite young, mostly I just walked. So I would put the baby in a baby carrier and I would go for a long walk each day. And that is pretty much all I did until I got to the November of 2023, and then I started doing couch to 5K. Since then, I have kept up with run walking. So I run a little bit, walk a little bit. Typically, I run for either 30 seconds or 20 seconds, and then I walk for the same amount or slightly longer. And I've been doing that ever since, and I'm really loving that. So that is something that I want to maintain. And I feel like I made, some of those healthy choices have like stuck, become a pattern. One thing that I really wanted to do though was doing some weights. As I am now in my 40s, I will be 42 next month. I am very conscious of the fact that this is a time of life where I can expect to see my muscle mass decrease. So if I'm not actively working on building muscle, I can expect to be losing like 3 to 8% of muscle each decade, meaning if I don't start building in some weights now, then in 20 years time, I'm going to be significantly weaker than I am now. And I wouldn't consider myself a particularly strong person right now. I want to be able to keep up with my kids because I have had kids a bit later in life. My children are currently aged 7, 5 and 2. So I have young kids. I want to be able to keep up with them. In 10 years time, my youngest is going to be just 12. I want to still be able to run around with my kids at that point, not be feeling that kind of energy drain, that muscle weakness. I want to be working on that very much. But it's just really important to me that I feel like good about myself. And at the moment, I wouldn't say I feel bad about myself. I'm definitely not in a place that I had been like a decade ago, where I would be regularly crying about what I wore, how I looked, how I felt. I feel like if anything, having children has completely changed my own kind of imagery of myself. How I think about myself has completely changed, and I feel much more positive about what my body has done, the fact that I have carried 3 children, brought them into this world, that I am, able to run around with them. And I think also the run walking has really helped change my attitude about myself, about my body. I will wear shorts, I will go out in a swimsuit, but I'm not feeling 100% confident. I definitely have my moments, and I just, I feel that sluggishness, I feel that bloating a lot. Like my stomach is constantly feeling a bit bit sore, bit yuck. And I know that when I'm eating well and moving my body, that I feel better, like all around. So I actually asked ChatGPT what it thought I could do to like implement a good like healthy routine over the next 90 days to help me feel and look better than I feel I do right now. And I thought it came up with some really interesting things. Whenever I'm using ChatGPT, I always give it like lots of like preload it with as much information as possible. So I told it about myself, how old I was, what I did for a living, kids, and what I had also experienced over the last few years, where I had found success in the past, like with intermittent fasting, what I really don't like calorie counting. I absolutely do not want to be doing any calorie counting. It just makes me miserable and I don't have time for it with the kids and work. So I told it that I wanted to increase my protein, for example. I wanted to be doing some weights. I have dumbbells at home. I don't want to go to a gym, like all of this information. And it came up with a really interesting plan for me, which I'm going to talk you through in terms of what elements of it I'm going to adopt over the next 90 days. So in terms of my like daily regime, ChatGPT recommended intermittent fasting. So no surprises there because that is what I found I had most like results with in the past and in the recent. So it recommended that I eat dinner by 7:30 and then I have no food after that. I have found that for me, eating within a 6 to 8 hour eating window has been like the most successful for me in order to see weight loss. So it's recommending like coffee, tea, water only until you break your fast, etc. So that's fine. I don't actually drink caffeine. I do drink tea and coffee a little bit, but decaf, and I mostly drink rooibos tea without milk in the morning. So that's absolutely fine. And what I liked here is ChatGPT said I should be flexible and have no guilt if I break my fast earlier, just like restart. And I like that kind of attitude of if you have like a bad moment or a bad day or whatever, or things don't go to plan, you just like pick yourself up and carry on, because I think so many of us, including me, are really guilty of seeing that kind of things not going the way we had wanted, the way we had intended, feeling like a failure and then like stopping altogether. So I absolutely think this is something that I need to keep reminding myself of and implement into the 90 days. It says in relation to sugar and ultra processed foods, because this is something that I had really made an effort to implement during 2023 that I feel like I have continued with, although not to the degree that I would have liked, and that was to reduce ultra processed foods. So ChatGPT is recommending that I add in one whole food per day and then remove one sugary or ultra processed snack per day. I mean, I don't think there are 90 of them for me to remove and introduce, but I think in general that kind of attitude of like getting rid of some of the things which are ultra processed in my diet and replacing them with things that are not gradually over the 90 days is a really good one. So movement, it recommends that I continue with the run walking, which I absolutely will be. I aim for 3 times a week, so that's perfect. And then it recommends that I do 2 to 3 at-home dumbbell workouts every week. Interestingly, it actually came up with a plan for me, but I don't know what a goblet squat is, and I don't know what a glute bridge is. So I will be using some YouTube videos that I have found that I really enjoyed for at-home dumbbell workouts. And I'm gonna be aiming for like 15 to 20 minute workouts to start with, and then trying to build them up. I'm also gonna try to like habit stack them on the things that I'm already doing. So for example, maybe just the run walking, that when I get in from a run walk, I try and immediately do some weights at home because I'm already in my exercise kit. I'm already in that like, you know, mental like zone for doing exercise. So I'll see if I can work that in that way. So in terms of some wider goals, ChatGPT is recommending that I do some meal planning and I actually work out, I have 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches and 2 dinner options that I just rotate. And I think this is a really good idea. Like basically come up with a meal plan for yourself, stick to it, and that you just keep rotating that over the period that you want. But I think 2 is quite limited. I'm quite a foodie, but there are some like go-to things that I really enjoy having that I can see me implementing on a more regular basis. So in terms of the monthly routines that ChatGPT recommends, so on a monthly basis, ChatGPT is recommending that I lose around 6 to 8 pounds a month, that I significantly reduce my sugar intake, which is a problem area for me, that I manage to do those 2 to 3 dumbbell workouts a week, and that I'm feeling more in control of my sleep and my routine. I think I missed that one out actually. In terms of weekly, what I'm aiming, sleep is definitely an area of my health, which I feel is not so good at the moment, and perhaps understandably so, given that I'm working as a lawyer and I have 3 young children. And so sleep is always the thing, like I borrow from my sleep window in order to do the things I need to do during the day all the time. And I am not good at protecting my sleep. So ChatGPT is recommending that I do no scrolling the internet after 9:30 at night. I think this is a very good habit for me to build in. Scrolling the internet always makes me feel like bad about myself. So there's a good one to eliminate, especially in the evening. And that I do some reading or listen to a podcast or something before bed. Again, I'd love to start reading more. So I think just trying to build in a better sleep routine would be so good for me. It recommends I get a minimum of 7 hours sleep each night, but an absolute minimum of 6. Again, I think that is really, really sensible and also realistic. Reflects like what life is sometimes like as a mum, and sometimes you're up in the night with young kids and you don't quite get the minimum that you set for yourself. So then on a kind of wider weekly basis, it's recommending that I do some meal planning and prepping on a Sunday, and like have Sunday as a reset day where I do some kind of meditation, and also I do some journaling about the week and like how it's gone, like reflection in terms of how the week's gone, what was good, what was not so great. And I think that is a really good tip as well. So yeah, on a monthly basis, losing 6 to 8 pounds a month, making sure I hit those goals, and feeling more control of my sleep and routine is such a good one. Yeah, mindset tips for consistency, something else that ChatGPT has provided me with, which I think is a really, really interesting, is saying don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. And that if you miss a workout or eating sugar, you eat some sugar, then that isn't a failure. It's like getting in that attitude of like, no need to start over, just carry on. And that every healthy choice is a deposit in your wellness account. So I really like those tips, and there's so many of them that I will be implementing. So I highly recommend, if you're unsure about how to start your health journey, that you give ChatGPT a go. So I've already started today in terms of my breakfast. I went for high protein, had 3 eggs with cottage cheese, had a bit of a sweet chili sauce because I love a sauce on things, and I don't want to like completely like go, I don't want to go bland. I like food. I'm very much a foodie, and I had some tomatoes. So I'm about to get to my lunch and I will show you what I have. But previously I've been really loving having these kind of like open wraps, where I had a wrap and I had spinach and I had like tons of things on top. But at the time when I was having those, I wasn't seeing any particular weight loss. Like I very much was maintaining the weight loss that I had seen from the end of February. So I think really for me, it's about increasing the protein and then tweaking the carbs. So I don't eliminate carbs entirely, but I think I'm going to ditch the wrap, go for the spinach as a base, and then some like quinoa on top, so that I have some like healthy carbs there, but that I am a bit more mindful about what I'm having. So that is my plan. I'm going to meal prep also the same thing to have tomorrow, because I'm going to be out and about in London, I think tomorrow, and I want to just make sure that I am like giving myself the best opportunity to make each day of the 90 days great. I'm going to be documenting my journey here on this channel with a weekly video, and also lots of daily short videos I'm going to be aiming for, showing you what I'm eating, showing you how I'm exercising, just to like make sure I'm holding myself accountable as I'm making my choices each day. So join me. If you're thinking about starting your own health journey, like literally join me, and let's see what we can do in 90 days. I will see you in the next one. Bye.